The Australian curriculum includes 3 cross-curriculum priorities. One of them relates to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures, their significance for Australia and their impact on our world.
Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives are important to embed across the curriculum because all people in schools, whether they're children or teachers, are living in Australia. And Australia has the fortunate position of having the world's longest living culture. And if that is left by the roadside, it actually devalues Australian society because you don't get the rich cultural diversity that you have, or we have as Australians.
Humanities education provides students with the education about the increasingly culturally diverse and dynamic society. Students learn to understand events and factors about the world, past and present, and develop the knowledge to respond to the future in appropriate and calculated ways. Humanities education is also the ground point for development of curiosity and imagination about the world in which they live in, and allows them to shape their own life, views, beliefs, and contribute their ideas about it. At Downdoller Hills Primary School, we believe in humanities education and the ability to allow students to form an understanding of history, geography, politics and economics at the primary level rather than just selecting these methods in secondary education. It forms a base knowledge for students to gain a deep understanding of the world through a range of different ways. We also place a strong emphasis on the understanding of Indigenous Australians and Torres Strait Islander education. The domain focuses on the diversity of our nation and the various cultures that are present in our society. It also is important for our students to understand and recognise the original owners of our land and respect their values and beliefs. This will be achieved by teaching them the themes and content through humanities.
Humanities education also provides our students and your children with the qualities and skills through exploration. They learn how to think creatively and critically, to reason and problem solve, be compassionate and empathetic, and understand justice and equality. As students research about their world, they will develop these skills and add to them through experiences and challenges faced as well as knowledge gained. Today, humanistic knowledge continues to provide the ideal foundation for exploring and understanding the human experience.
Students are given the opportunity to learn about the different countries and places of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and about their communities, climates, settlement patterns and population characteristics and how these affect communities past and present. To give you an idea of what we teach, students by the end of Year 3 will be able to identify individuals, events and aspects of the past that are significant in the present. Students will be able to describe specific and diverse characteristics of different people and places and identify the connections between them.
The Australian Curriculum Cross-Curricular Priority provides opportunities for all students to deepen their knowledge of Australia by engaging with the world's oldest continuous living creatures and give the understanding to students that contemporary Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities are very strong, resilient, rich and diverse communities. The priority covers identity, living communities, and the key concepts of country, place, culture, and people. The unit also covers the ATSL Standard 1.4 Strategies for Teaching Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Students with a well-structured program and teaching strategies that are responsive to the local community and cultural setting, linguistic background and histories of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. And also ATSL Standard 2.4 Understand and Respect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to promote reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians, which provide opportunities for students to develop understanding of and respect the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories, cultures and languages.
The Respect Relationships Reconciliation Project has been developed for the Australian Institute of Teaching and Social Leadership to address focus areas within the standards for teaching. Peter Buckskin of the RRI project explained that the project have developed a unit outline and content to support our teachers with content and knowledge delivery about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander education. The project consists of 3 modules and resources for the use for teachers in the classroom. Alongside these modules, our school has participated in many important dates and events significant to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community. Events such as National Reconciliation Week, Sorry Day and NAIDOC Week have had not only a whole school approach but individual year level activities organised for students to broaden their knowledge of the culture and history through humanities education.
Pedagogy. If a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. Pedagogy is the art of teaching. It is the process of presenting content in the context of learning strategies that connect with a cognitive process. In other words, pedagogy is how the teaching and learning occurs. Students must construct their own understandings through meaningful experiences. There is no universal teaching strategy to suit all situations or students. Specific teaching strategies may be better suited to students with different backgrounds, abilities, and learning styles. Every student is unique and therefore must be taught in a way that is meaningful to them as an individual.
Humanities can be taught effectively either as an individual lesson or incorporated within other areas of the curriculum such as literacy, art, music, drama, and physical education. It should be taught in various ways to cater for all students' learning needs. The most successful learning occurs when children are guided by adults towards learning things that they could not attempt on their own. As an educator, I value this point as it is the responsibility of teachers to ensure they have engaged their students within each lesson to allow for their learning to take place. The theory of the zone of proximal development is about the stage in a child's life where teachers are assisting them in working towards independence and moving past their present levels of development into further development that involves new areas of learning and knowledge. By incorporating Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences into your teaching style, it is creating more opportunities to engage the vast majority of students in the learning that is taking place.
We are all visitors to this time, to this place. We are just passing through. Our purpose here is to observe, to learn, to grow, to love, and then we return home. Incorporating an excursion to Bunjalaka Aboriginal Culture Centre, which is located at the Melbourne Museum, students will be enabled to gain a deeper understanding of Indigenous cultures and ways of life. As multiculturalism is a fundamental aspect of our country, it is essential that students gain knowledge on the history of our country to enable them to look at the world through an Indigenous viewpoint. In the Bunjalaka Aboriginal Cultural Centre, we also see displays of Aboriginal Dreamtime stories. Dreamtime stories are significant to the Indigenous population as they pass on important cultural values, knowledge, and beliefs to later generations. In particular, Dreamtime stories relate to the relationship between land, animals, and people. Dreamtime stories can be adapted into many curriculum areas such as English, art, or drama. Students may be given the opportunity to create their own Dreamtime stories. They may creatively depict their favourite part of a specific Dreamtime story through art, or they may act out a Dreamtime story. How the Dreamtime Stories artefact relates to the curriculum. Bunjalaka at the Melbourne Museum also showcases how Australia's first people lived and their land management practices. Indigenous communities lived a semi-nomadic lifestyle. They used fire to burn and regrow areas. They were experienced farmers and they used natural resources to build shelters and weapons. With this newfound knowledge, students can compare how people lived then to how they live now. Students may be given the opportunity to draw a shelter using only natural materials. Students could also write a recount about the difficulties they faced whilst building the shelter. These ideas can be adapted into English or art lessons. How the artefact about Australia's first people links to the curriculum. In Bunjalaka at the Melbourne Museum, they also display how Indigenous communities marked their identity. As there was no written language for Australian Aborigines, they conveyed their important cultural stories through symbols and icons. Students may be given the opportunity to create a story using Aboriginal symbols. These stories can be shared amongst the class or could furthermore be used in an arts lesson where they may paint their stories. How the artefact of Indigenous symbols relates to the curriculum.
We use the general term assessment to refer to all those activities undertaken by teachers and by their students in assessing themselves that provide information to be used as feedback to modify teaching and learning activities. Such assessment becomes formative assessment when the evidence is actually used to adapt the teaching to meet students' needs. Here are some examples of less daunting assessments than tests or essays that could be used within Humanities. Exit slip questions, where students have to answer specific topic-related questions prior to the class finishing. Thumbs up or thumbs down of students' feelings towards their content knowledge. Self and peer evaluations, the student's ability to perform a particular part of a task. The use of simple marking rubrics for students to use as a guideline when completing particular work. Monitoring of students' contributions within lessons and discussions, and the students' attendance and presence within Humanities lessons, both within the classroom and on any planned excursion or incursion. Celebrations can be both big and small. Teachers should implement a variety of celebrations within their classrooms, as student successes should also be celebrated and encouraged. Simple verbal praise such as, "Good job," "Awesome work," "You got it," can be really encouraging for students and motivate them to work at high standards. Same goes when handing out small stickers to students or putting them on their work. Presenting to the class also provides the chance for a sense of achievement for students, and it can also prompt other students to aim for a similar work standard. Awards are deemed as special for students, and they take great pride in receiving these. Celebrations can also extend outside the classroom. Examples of this would include the presentation of their work at a whole school assembly for all students, teachers and parents to see. Another great idea is hosting an exhibition where students can showcase their work for families and members of the school to come along and view. By implementing these initiatives, it encourages students to strive further and ultimately to produce greater outcomes in their work.